out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
2025 has been ruthless for celebrity reputations. From courtroom battles to social media meltdowns, some of Hollywood's biggest names are burning through public goodwill at record speed. Today, we're breaking down the stars people can't stand right now, and the stories that made them this year's most hated. And the topping first one was no one but a couple once seen as Hollywood's golden pair, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. For years, Blake and Ryan were Hollywood's PR dream, a picture-perfect marriage built on witty interviews and red carpet chemistry. But this year, their image crashed head-on into a messy legal brawl. It began with Blake accusing director Justin Baldoni of harassment on the set of It Ends With Us.
Blake Lively accusing Justin Baldoni, her director and co-star in the film It Ends With Us, of sexual harassment and of orchestrating a smear campaign against her.
Then Baldoni fired back, suing not only Blake, but also Ryan and her publicist, claiming they tried to smear his name and hijack the film's production. The backlash didn't stop in court. Blake's press tour drew outrage when she encouraged fans to wear floral outfits to a movie about domestic abuse, all while slipping in plugs for her alcohol and hair care brands. Ryan's "we grew up working class" comment only made things worse. Critics saw it as laughably out of touch. The couple once celebrated for being relatable now looked insulated, defensive, and entirely disconnected from the fans who once adored them. But they're not the only stars whose words turned admiration into backlash. Rachel Zegler was supposed to be Disney's fresh new face, leading the live-action Snow White into a new era. Instead, she found herself at the center of a fan revolt months before the film's release. In interviews, Rachel criticized the 1937 classic as outdated.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
And called the prince's storyline a little creepy. While she framed it as a modern update, many saw her comments as condescending to the source material and to Disney's loyal fan base. When the backlash exploded, she issued a string of social media apologies, but the damage was done. Fans noticed the posts were quickly deleted and rephrased, feeding claims that her contrition wasn't sincere. Then came the performance critiques. On forums and reaction videos, some said her voice was too strong and lacked the soft, airy tone associated with the character. Combined with her outspoken political stances, critics labeled her a Hollywood virtue signaler. And if you think that's enough to sink public opinion, the next celebrity's controversies managed to divide not just moviegoers, but an entire royal audience. Meghan Markle. Few public figures have managed to polarize the world quite like Meghan Markle. After stepping back from royal duties, she and Prince Harry promised a quieter life, but 2025 proved anything but quiet. Allegations of bullying during her time as a working royal resurfaced, with reports that multiple aides resigned under her management. Royal watchers called it hypocrisy when she and Harry launched an anti-bullying campaign under their Archewell brand. Then came the title's controversy. In March, Meghan signed a podcast gift note using Her Royal Highness, despite having agreed to drop that styling. Critics accused her of deliberately flouting protocol for attention, and her business ventures have faced their own storms. From a pop-up store accused of copying another brand's design to a Netflix project slammed as a desperate bid to stay relevant. Her supporters call it unfair scrutiny. Her detractors call it self-inflicted. Either way, Meghan's every move becomes global headlines, and the next name has mastered turning outrage into a career. Kanye West has never been a stranger to controversy, but in 2025, his ability to stir outrage reached new highs. Long after the Taylor Swift stage storm and his bizarre Grammy interruptions, Kanye's public behavior keeps overshadowing his music. This year, his social media has been a non-stop stream of erratic posts, thinly veiled jabs at industry rivals, and increasingly provocative public appearances with Bianca Censori, often pushing the boundaries of what's appropriate on red carpets and live streams. His critics haven't forgotten his past anti-Semitic remarks, and his habit of dragging private family matters into the spotlight hasn't helped. From harassing Kim Kardashian and her partners online to releasing disturbing music videos, Kanye seems determined to keep personal drama front-page news. Supporters argue it's all part of his artistry. Detractors see it as ego unchecked. And speaking of public spectacle, the next name on the list built her own empire on a different kind of controversy. Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian's critics have a long list, and 2025 just added more fuel. Once known for transforming a leaked tape into a global brand, Kim has been accused for years of glamorizing excessive wealth and pushing unrealistic beauty standards. This year, she faced new backlash after Skims promoted a winter sale during the devastating Los Angeles wildfires, a move many called tone-deaf. Just weeks later, she lost over 150,000 Instagram followers after posting a photo of Melania Trump on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a gesture that baffled even some loyal fans. Her Met Gala look, a chrome-masked Balenciaga piece, divided audiences between high-fashion praise and cold, impersonal mockery. And her newest product, a seamless sculpt face wrap, drew criticism for preying on insecurities with yet another pricey beauty fix. To supporters, Kim remains a savvy businesswoman. To her detractors, she's the ultimate symbol of out-of-touch celebrity excess. But the next name proves you don't have to be part of Hollywood to become one of the most divisive figures in pop culture. Greta Thunberg's rise as the face of youth climate activism made her a global icon. But in 2025, that image has become sharply polarizing. Admirers see her as a fearless truth-teller. Critics accuse her of performative outrage and selective advocacy. This year, her arrest during a high-profile protest outside a major energy conference reignited the debate. Supporters called it civil disobedience. Opponents painted it as another PR stunt. Her blunt style has always drawn fire, but recent public clashes, including tense exchanges with political leaders and viral moments where she snapped back at hecklers, have fed claims that she thrives on confrontation as much as the cause itself. Social media is split. One side hails her courage, the other mocks her as self-righteous and unwilling to engage with opposing views. And while Greta's critics think she's pushing boundaries for attention, the next entry involves a couple whose public downfall wasn't about changing the world, but surviving a scandal that shook their careers. Alec Baldwin and Hilaria Thomas Baldwin. Alec Baldwin's career was already under a shadow after the 2021 Rust Set tragedy, but 2025 has kept the heat on. His repeated insistence that he never pulled the trigger clashed with FBI findings, fueling public doubt. Instead of laying low, Baldwin pressed forward, even resuming production on Rust with himself still as lead actor and producer. Vanity Fair called it a bewildering act of ego, and many agreed. Then there's his reputation for volatility. From berating paparazzi to shoving reporters, Baldwin's temper has been public record for years. But in the age of social media, every sharp word becomes another viral clip. His wife Hilaria has her own baggage, most infamously, the fake Spanish scandal, where she was exposed for adopting an accent and backstory that didn't match her Boston upbringing. The mix of tragedy, controversy, and public mistrust has left the Baldwin brand in tatters. But the next name didn't just face public doubt. Her courtroom drama became one of the most watched celebrity legal battles of the decade. Amber Heard may have stepped out of the courtroom, but her name still sparks heated debate. The 2022 defamation trial against Johnny Depp left her with a fractured public image, and in 2025, attempts at a career reset haven't gone smoothly. Her move to Spain and low-profile film projects were meant to signal a fresh start, yet interviews often reopened old wounds. Critics still cite the trial's most infamous moments: audio of her admitting to hitting Depp, the disputed charity donations, and the bizarre poop in the bed allegation that became a cultural meme. Social media hasn't been forgiving. Hashtags calling her manipulative resurface whenever she appears in the news, and her fan encounters are often overshadowed by viral hecklers. While supporters argue she's been vilified beyond reason, her detractors see her as the face of a weaponized narrative gone wrong. And the next celebrity didn't need a courtroom to damage his reputation. Just a single slap seen by millions around the world. Will Smith. For decades, Will Smith was Hollywood's unstoppable good guy, the charming star who could win over any crowd. That image shattered in 2022 when he walked on stage at the Oscars and slapped Chris Rock over a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. The clip went global in seconds, sparking endless debate and earning him a 10-year Academy ban. His acceptance speech that night tried to frame the incident as a misguided act of love, but the lack of an immediate apology rubbed many the wrong way. When he finally released a YouTube apology, critics called it calculated and hollow. In the years since, his attempts at redemption have been overshadowed by ongoing public fascination with his marriage, where Jada's candid revelations often leave him appearing humiliated. Supporters still see a talented actor trying to recover. Detractors think the slap revealed who he really is. And that brings us to the woman at the center of his most talked about moments and controversies of her own. Jada Pinkett Smith's public image has long been tied to unfiltered self-disclosure, but in recent years, that openness has often worked against her. The turning point came with her entanglement confession involving singer August Alsina, a close friend of her son. While she described it as a healing journey, many saw it as manipulative and dismissive of the emotional fallout. The infamous Red Table Talk episode where she discussed the affair with Will, his discomfort visible to millions, fueled claims that she exploits private family pain for public content. Then came her 2023 memoir and interviews, where she revealed she and Will had been separated for years before the Oscars slap. Critics accused her of undermining his attempts to repair his reputation. Jada's constant references to her late friend Tupac Shakur, including claims he proposed from prison, have kept public opinion split, with many calling it disrespectful to her marriage. And while Jada's controversies thrive on oversharing, the next name's troubles stem from blockbuster promises that failed to deliver. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson built his career on charisma, grit, and an underdog narrative. But in 2025, many fans feel that story's worn thin. The turning point came with Black Adam. Johnson hyped it as a game-changer for the DC universe, but when the film underperformed, he reportedly pushed a false narrative of success, with leaked reports suggesting his team massaged financial figures. The move was seen as protecting ego over honesty. His return to WWE also drew backlash. As a board member of its parent company, Johnson used his influence to insert himself into the WrestleMania main event, sidelining fan favorite Cody Rhodes. The outrage was so intense, WWE reversed course, and Johnson mocked critics as crybabies. On screen, audiences say they're tired of seeing the same unshakable, flawless hero in every role. Off-screen, his just a regular guy persona is being challenged by reports of strict image control and behind-the-scenes power plays. And while Johnson's fall is tied to his own decisions, the next actor's backlash comes from a legendary career overshadowed by a temper. Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is one of cinema's most celebrated actors, but in recent years his public persona has taken a hit. In 2019, his former assistant sued him for gender discrimination and verbal abuse, alleging that he treated her like a servant, forced her to perform menial tasks, and berated her with insults. The ugly court battle ended with his company paying over $1 million in damages. Then there's his volcanic temper. De Niro has been known to storm out of interviews, snap at journalists, and leave biting voicemails when displeased. His political outbursts, often laced with profanity, have also divided audiences. To some, he's speaking truth to power. To others, he's just another out-of-touch celebrity using fame as a megaphone. Even his recent filmography has raised eyebrows. Critics say he's swapping prestige projects for lazy comedies and cash grabs, eroding the legacy that once made him untouchable. And if De Niro's problem is coming off gruff, the next name's downfall came from acting overly sweet. On camera, at least. James Corden built his U.S. career on charm, the upbeat late-night host who sang with celebrities in traffic. But behind the scenes, that image unraveled. Former staffers and industry insiders described him as dismissive, condescending, and quick to lose his temper when the cameras weren't rolling. The most damaging blow came in 2022, when New York's famed Balthazar restaurant publicly banned him. The owner called him a tiny cretin of a man, after repeated incidents of yelling at servers over minor mistakes, including an omelet order for his wife. Then came the carpool karaoke revelation. Footage surfaced showing Corden not actually driving, with the car mounted on a tow rig. Fans who loved the segment felt duped, add in critics calling him painfully unfunny at award shows and in box office flops like Cats. And the goodwill that once fueled his rise has dried up. And while Corden's image crumbled over rudeness, the next celebrity's backlash blends diva reputation with accusations of borrowing more than just inspiration. Jennifer Lopez has been a fixture in pop culture for decades, but her reputation has soured for many. Long-standing claims from artists like Ashanti and Christina Milian allege that Lopez used their vocals on hit tracks like I'm Real and Play without proper credit. Accusations that paint her as less of a powerhouse and more of a borrower. Former backup dancers have also called her cold and dismissive, with one notorious story claiming she refused to hire Virgos based solely on their zodiac sign. Her onstage choices have stirred controversy too. The 2020 Super Bowl halftime show drew over 1,000 complaints to the FCC for being too provocative, and even a Moroccan prime minister labeled it indecent. More recently, her multimedia project This Is Me now is panned as self-indulgent and awkward, with critics calling it a vanity piece. And if those weren't enough, the infamous tip thief story, where she allegedly swapped Ben Affleck's $10,000 tip for a few dollars, still circulates online. But while Lopez's controversies come from alleged behavior and artistic choices, the next star's backlash was fueled by accusations of faking her way to billionaire status. Kylie Jenner was once hailed as a business prodigy when Forbes named her the youngest self-made billionaire in 2019. But that title collapsed a year later when the magazine accused her of inflating Kylie Cosmetics' revenue and providing misleading financial documents. The fallout cemented her as, in critics' eyes, the poster child for manufactured success. Her public image also suffers from accusations of distorting beauty standards. Kylie's transformation, from natural features to plumped lips, exaggerated curves, and a highly edited social media presence, has been linked to a wave of cosmetic trends among teens. Multiple Photoshop mishaps, with warped backgrounds and impossible body proportions, have fueled accusations of selling an unattainable image. And while she continues to dominate the influencer market, many see her constant flaunting of wealth, private jets, and luxury vacations as tone-deaf in a time of economic struggle. If Kylie is criticized for selling an image, the next name has been called out for selling someone else's jokes and not always owning up to it. Amy Schumer's rise was fueled by sharp stand-up and box office hits, but her career has been dogged by persistent accusations of joke theft. Fellow comedians like Wendy Liebman, Patrice O'Neal, and Kathleen Madigan have pointed out punchlines and premises in her specials that they say sound suspiciously familiar. While Schumer has denied intentionally stealing material, the controversy refuses to fade. Her comedic style is another sticking point. Critics say she relies too heavily on the same formula: crude humor, sex jokes, and self-deprecation, to the point where her routines feel recycled. Even her attempts to blend comedy with feminist messaging have drawn backlash, with some accusing her of using empowerment as a marketing gimmick, while reinforcing the very stereotypes she claims to challenge. Schumer's defensive reactions to criticism haven't helped, with detractors calling her thin-skinned and unwilling to admit fault. And while Amy's trouble comes from how she crafts her comedy, the next name's backlash was less about what they said and more about how they looked on screen. Bella Ramsey won over many viewers as the fierce Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, but their casting as Ellie in HBO's The Last of Us turned them into a lightning rod online. A vocal section of the gaming community attacked their appearance, saying they didn't match the video game character. Some even resorted to cruel personal insults. Others criticized their acting, claiming it didn't capture Ellie's spirit from the source material. Outside of performance critiques, Bella's use of they-them pronouns has drawn both support and backlash, with detractors dismissing it as performative and fans defending their right to self-identify. The constant online harassment got so intense that Bella deactivated their social media accounts entirely. And that's just the first half of this year's most hated celebrity list. It doesn't stop here. The next names come with scandals even messier and feuds even harder to recover from. Just click the video on your screen to watch the rest of the list. What do you think about the celebrities we've covered so far? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more.